Hello everybody and welcome. This is Kat and that's exactly what we're gonna be drawing today. So grab a paper and a pen and let's get started. I always start my sketches by drawing a head, which is usually a circle, and then I start chiseling the jaw, drawing the eyes, ears, etc. I know some people draw by doing the overall shape of the body, geometric forms that substitute the body and then they sculpt that body from raw shapes. I've always found that to be a bit difficult for me, in the sense that I tend to draw the head and then the body, and when I start detailing the head it ends up being bigger or smaller than it's supposed to be, just because the way I draw, I usually either add or take away from that initial circle that I place as the head. So in the end it ends up being either bigger or smaller. So for me it's just easier to detail the head, have it as a almost finished form that I'm happy with, and then start doing the body. I don't always tend to shape the body first as a geometric form and then draw it. Sometimes I just find it easier to just draw it as I see it, especially when I'm using references, and for these drawings today I'm definitely using references. There are plenty of lovely pictures of cats on Google and I'm just referencing some of those images. At this point I've drawn the front legs and I'm just detailing the paws and emphasizing some of the lines that I like and that I want to keep. I know this is supposed to be a sketch and obviously the construction lines shouldn't matter, but for me they just distract me so much, so sometimes I tend to spend a ridiculous amount of time drawing and erasing and drawing and erasing those lines over and over until I'm happy with the ones that I have. It shouldn't really matter. I know it's a sketch, it's supposed to look sketchy, but for me it just messes with my brain so much. I always do my sketches as clean as I can, and the funny thing is there are so many artists I admire and I love watching their videos when they sketch and they end up with a finished sketch that has all these constructions lines showing through the final drawing, and it looks amazing, but for some reason mine just don't. I can never manage that. This cat I'm drawing now has an elongated pose. She's stretching her back legs and she's got the front paw lifted, so it's just easier for me to draw the body parts one by one, the neck, and then going with the chest and finishing with the back leg. Drawing cats is so much fun because they are so nice and squishy. Basically all their body parts are a series of curved lines, which makes it really fun to draw, and the overall look is flowy and they almost look like they are floating above the ground. So yeah, that's really fun to do. I definitely like this pose better than the first one. The first one is a bit stiff, kind of static, it doesn't have much to it. Also, I tend to start my sketching with something very easy, even if it's not necessarily really interesting, just because I need that warm-up for my hand. So whatever I draw first, it's not gonna turn out great, and then the more I draw, the further I progress into my sketching session, the better and more detailed it gets. I love the facial expression I was able to pull out for this sketch. She looks so proud of herself. Look at her, she's like, I've done something human. I've destroyed your couch and I've played with the toilet paper and I knocked down all your vases. She's so cute. So now would be a good time to make a confession. I've been drawing my entire life pretty much, but what you guys don't know is that for the past few years I've went through a long and probably the hardest art block I've ever experienced in my life. You wouldn't know that obviously because you don't know how I used to draw before, but for me it's quite obvious. So this video that I'm filming is basically me coming out of that art block and trying to get back in the swing of things. It's quite obvious to me that I am not in the same place I was when I stopped doing art. But hopefully I will get back to where I was, and not only that, but get even better and progress with my art. I don't plan on talking much about the art block in this video because I intend to do another video which will be a story time where I'll be going through the full details of what that art block meant to me, how it affected me, and how I managed to get out of it. But for this video, I do want to talk about a few things that I think will be helpful if you went through such a thing and you're coming out of an art block and you're just getting back into drawing. I also think they would help new artists who just want to start drawing and they just don't really know how to go about it or what supplies even to buy in the first place. Since this is a draw with me video, I'll just be talking about drawing and what you need to get started, what supplies you should be looking at, what's important, what's not that important, you know, what you can skip over and what you absolutely need to have. So the first thing to consider is the surface on which you are drawing. I would suggest to look for paper, unless you prefer something else, but obviously paper is easy to come by and is the cheapest. People have very different opinions about the paper that you draw on, whether it should be high quality branded one or just box standard printer paper. In my opinion, if you're somebody who just wants to start drawing or just get back into the habit of drawing, I don't think paper is something that's very important. I think you can draw on whatever you have at hand, whether that's, you know, a tissue or just printer paper. Don't go out of your way buying expensive products, because the purpose of this exercise is for you to go back to drawing and go back in developing a habit out of drawing. So your paper is not something that should stop you from doing that. However, one thing that I do think it's really important when you start drawing is the pencil or the lead that you're using. If you haven't drawn in a long time, or if you've never drawn before and you just want to start now, your first problem will be having a heavy hand. Being heavy-handed basically means that your hand is not yet sensitive enough to know how much pressure to put on the pencil when drawing. So you'll probably end up with lines that are very dark and very harsh that you'll need to erase, and you won't be able to do that because they are so well embedded in the paper. Chances are you're gonna need to erase quite a lot, just because your sketches are probably not gonna be 100% what you want them to be from the get-go. So if your lines are so hard, after erasing them a couple of times, your paper will start to tear and get, you know, scratchy and muddy, and that's really not a good look, and you probably will be put off by that. The simple solution would be just to get a pencil that's not that dark. Pencils are marked with a letter that indicates how hard or soft the lead inside the pencil is. You've got the B pencils, the H pencils and the F pencils. B pencils are commonly used for drawing. They are softer and they have a darker lead. The HB pencils are the middle range. They can lead towards the soft side or the hard side. F pencils are usually used for technical drawing. They are hard and they leave light colored strokes. Each pencil type covers a range, so depending on the manufacturer, you can get B pencils from 1B to 12B, for example, 1B being the hardest within the B range and 12 being the softest in the B range. The same applies for the F pencils and the H pencils. If you want to buy yourself some pencils or some lead for your mechanical pencils and you don't know what to choose, I would recommend going for the H range, just because the B's are a bit too soft. Especially if you're heavy-handed, you might have troubles with those, like I explained, with the heavy lines and then not being able to erase it. So go for 2H or HB if you want something on the softer side. So I'm almost done with the fourth sketch and I am not thrilled. That leg, it's just wrong. No, it's too high. Need to erase it. I think the placement on the paper is the problem. I can't get that leg any lower, but hopefully I'll be able to sort it out. I'm not that happy with the way this fourth cat turned out. She's a bit, I don't know, chubby. She looks a bit like a bear. Well, you can't always get them right. But I do like number 2 and number 3. I think those two are really cute, and yeah, I'm happy with those. Yay, we made it to the second page. I want to draw something a bit different here because I want to come up with a concept for an illustration. So Let's see. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. Yes, let's try a more realistic cat. I was brainstorming some ideas for the illustration and I thought, well, cats were a big part of the ancient Egyptian culture, so maybe I should play more on that theme. The first thing that came to my mind when I was thinking of cats and ancient Egypt was the Sphinx cat. If you've never heard of it, the Sphinx cat is basically a breed of cats that have no fur. Now, I don't know why my mind made this association between the Sphinx cat and the ancient Egypt. They really are unrelated, but for some reason I genuinely thought that the Sphinx cats were actually the ancient Egypt cats. Probably because of the name, I was thinking of, Sphinx as in the Egyptian statue. So I started drawing one. It turns out that the Sphinx cats were actually a breed created in the 1960s by selective breeding, so they definitely have nothing to do with ancient Egypt. Nevertheless, I think it's quite challenging to try and draw a cat that has no fur, so yeah, I'm just going for it. Some people find these cats a bit odd looking. I personally think they are really adorable, and I'm curious what you think as well. So leave a comment in the section down below and tell me, what do you think about the Sphinx cats? Would you ever have one? If you do have one, how is it as a pet? Do you enjoy it? Any particular perks of the breed? I would love to read all about it. And if you don't have a Sphinx cat, but you have some other cat, I would still love to hear all about it. We're a cat-friendly community here, so I would love to encourage some discussions about our favorite pets. And yes, dog lovers, you are very welcome to join in the conversation. And fish lovers and horse lovers, you know what, let's scrap that. We are a animal-loving community, so anyone who has any kind of pet is welcome to brag about them. Unfortunately, I have no pets to introduce to you guys. My cat passed away a few years ago and I was devastated. She was the love of my life, she was my baby, and I don't think I ever got over her death. I did foster a few kittens and a few puppies until they found their forever homes, but I never committed to a pet since. And I just brought down the mood for everybody. I'm so sorry, guys. On a more positive note, I've made some progress with this drawing. I ended up not drawing a lot of skin folds because I was worried my drawing will end up looking like the cat fell asleep on a grill. But I'm happy with the decision because I think it turned out okay. It looks like a Sphinx cat, which was the point of this exercise, so yeah, I'm really happy with that. I think I know what I want to draw for the final illustration. I want to make one more sketch. I'm drawing a cat's head from profile because I want to make sure it looks right when I put this into my final idea. Lately, I've been really into drawing profiles. I used to absolutely hate them in the past. I would avoid them like the plague. But I don't know, for some reason they really appeal to me lately and I've been doing quite a few of these. Obviously this one is a cat and I'm gonna put it on a human body, so we're basically gonna draw an anthro for the final sketch. Anthros used to be a big thing a few years back. I don't know if they still are, they might. I don't really tend to follow trends, so I'm never up to speed with whatever's going on in the art community. I'm the kind of person who's always late to the party and sometimes I just completely miss it. But I'm going to pretend I'm not drawing an anthro. I am going to draw the ancient Egyptian cat goddess Bastet. I skipped over the part where I'm drawing the head just because I've already did it and I don't want to bore you guys with that. So I'm just drawing the body in profile. I find it really easy to start like that just because, you know, you only have to draw one of each, one arm, one boobie, etc. And also you don't have to worry about symmetry. So if you're having troubles drawing the human body, you don't have much experience with it, I would advise start with drawing profiles. You might find it more easy. Okay, scrap that. I'm not actually drawing the body from profile. I am doing a slight semi-profile because you can kind of see a little bit from the other half of the body. My intention was to do a full profile, but then I realized the drawing is just gonna end up looking very one-dimensional, so I just abandoned that and tried a semi-profile, which I think works much better. At some point I even contemplated trying to do this illustration in the ancient Egyptian style of murals, where you have the head from profile, the torso from frontal view, and the legs or the upper body from a semi-profile. I scrapped that idea pretty fast. You guys never seen anything in this sketch that resembled that, just because I eventually realized I was a bit too caught up in this idea of ancient Egypt, and I don't really want to imitate anyone's art style. I just want to do my own. So the moral of the story is, if you need to make changes, don't worry about it. Don't stress over the fact that your initial plan didn't work out. Sometimes it's good to go with your instinct. It might take you in the right direction, whether you know it or not. I'm gonna quickly draw the accessories, the hair, the clothes, and the jewelry. For me, this is really the best part of designing a character. It's basically just playing dress up. The worst part about drawing a human-like character for me is drawing the hands. I just cannot draw them. I use references and they still end up looking dodgy at best. I know many people have issues with drawing hands, but also many people swear by them and say it's the easiest thing in the world. I haven't found out that easy way yet, but I'm persistent. I'll still try and draw them to the best of my abilities. If you struggle with drawing something, don't let that something stop you from finishing a project. I know it's easier to throw in the towel and just call it quits, but at the end of the day, that little something that you're not happy with is not worth throwing away all the hard work you did with the rest of the project. I mean, look at that hand, guys. It's bloody awful, but you know what? I'm happy with the rest of the drawing. I'm not gonna throw it away just because one stupid hand doesn't want to come out the way I want it. I'm just gonna keep going, and I bet in 6 months I'm gonna improve. And so will you. Okay, I think I'm done with the sketch. I'm gonna transfer this to a different piece of paper and do the line art. The next video will be a speed paint of this drawing and a story time. Oh, I just had an idea. So I transferred this drawing to a cardboard and I did the line art. But what I wanted to show you is this amazing piece of cardboard that I found. It's actually a really pretty golden metallic cardboard. I don't know if the camera is picking it up, but it's got like this really pretty pearlescent shine, and I think this is gonna look amazing with alcohol markers. I'm not 100% sure that this is going to work, as I've never tried it before, but I'm really excited to try it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care!